So I do miss the student contact, but it's an organization that hires media experts.
Okay.
And so one of them actually did a podcast this summer in London. They hire professors who are media experts to take students from the US, although it's open to anybody, but it's usually through US schools, to take them abroad during the summertime to do a short, these experiences where they are either journalists or one of them focuses on PR and marketing, but they go out and they are in a foreign context. They're actually doing stories and projects.
Okay.
And so my job with them is I help these professors just do the logistics of their projects. And one of them actually is in Bologna, because of me. And so I was able to work with the students.
Cool. So you regain a little bit of the contact. Yeah, that's nice.
But I did, with the group in Siena, I'm still in touch with them and collaborate with them. But it's just not, unfortunately, the kind of organization that was able to branch out when I needed it to branch out and do anything. So, yeah.
Life.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people had this, COVID really truncated a lot of moments.
It did. Yeah. What was it like for you? I mean, were you here or?
No, we were in Germany, and then in the last year it's when we moved to Greece, but it was already without the quarantine and without anything. To be honest, in Germany, I mean, yes, we were working from home. I had the lucky part that I was already kind of working from home, so I've been working from home for a long time. Didn't change much.
Maybe classes for people.
Yeah, at the end, it's just maybe I spent even more hours working than I should have. This is also what happens when you don't have anything else to do than working. So yeah, it was challenging, but I would say that in Germany and especially in Frankfurt, you were still able to walk around. There was no really strict quarantine. There wasn't a strict curfew or night. At night, but nothing else. You could still go for a walk in a park with your partner or whatever. You could still even manage to be 2-3 households that you put as reference and then go visit that once only. So yeah, it was difficult in a lot of senses. I think mentally for everyone. Stop everything. I'm a person that I'm very social and I love going to have a drink or go to see some theater, something, I don't know, sports, everything, and then suddenly everything of that disappears 100%. But yeah, it was interesting times, to put it that way.
I mean, we all lived our own version of this personal nightmare, I mean, there's somebody like you who wants to just go out and do things and just can't, and then we were just stuck at home with kids,
that's the other one,
and also then trying to work online, and I was there was a moment and this is when we were already here because it kind of spanned. We started COVID out in Siena and then ended it here in Bologna, but there was one time when I was teaching my own kids age online with my own kids
at home
running around. And this is awful. This is
it's an awkward situation, that's for sure. When does improv come in this whole mess? Because at the end we started the episode talking about the improv jungle a little bit, but I know that you have some courses now also inside of the whole thing.
So improv comes in this a little bit COVID. So I'm there, and one of the things that one like me who is a native English speaker in Italy can find is that it's possible to find some jobs with the public schools. What's kind of it's really demoralizing is that you can't get a full-time job as a teacher here unless you, as a language teacher, unless you have gone through the university system in Italy. Which what that does is it means that all of the teachers who are teaching English are all Italian. And so their levels vary greatly with their ability to actually, speak or not. And so you get a lot of teachers whose heart is in the right place, but they don't really speak English very well, or people whose heart even isn't in the right place, and they're just well, whatever, this is the best job I can get, And sure, I guess I have to teach English. I don't really speak it, but there you go. And what that then creates is this smaller opportunity, recognized pretty much by the Ministry of Education, that they put in funding for language experts to come in and kind of right the ship a little bit, because the kids aren't able to have constant exposure to anybody who speaks the language,
or it's a mother tongue. Also, exactly. Like it's not the.
So you have all of these other tons of language schools that exist. I mean, there aren't geography schools or math schools, elsewhere, but there's tons of language schools, especially focusing on mostly Spanish and English.
After school,
because in the school, and they're after school things, but there is some funding, and so it's possible to kind of create a patchwork of it's called the lettorato in Italian, which is this like expert coming in and doing conversation stuff with kids. And so you can kind of work at one school and another school and another school and kind of create this patchwork of enough hours to kind of resemble a full job.
Full time.
Not really, but anyway, that's what I had. That's what I could do, and we were still kind of on the end of COVID. And I was working in a middle school, getting them to do kind of fun activities where we're talking, we're getting engaging, and I happened to just like find some exercises that came from the world of improv. And I took them into class and they worked like really well. I was able to get kids to have fun speaking to each other in English, which that's the whole that worked. And you pass an entire hour of that and the other kids are paying attention. And I was like, wow, this is a really powerful tool. I have to give a little shout out to a person who is a friend of mine from high school in Denver, because she also, seeing what she does, then kind of helped me put this idea together. She has a degree in sports psychology, and she created this thing called improv alchemy, where she works with teams, and she actually works with a number of NFL, so national football, American football teams. And she works with groups of players and often even their families who are just joining the team to help with the communication. Because it's such a big jump to go from, maybe you're at university and you've kind of got all these people working for you and you're doing things. So now you have a contract, you're moving your family, they're going to have messages, you have a diet to follow, you have all these things, and then you have a game, and then you have to concentrate and you have to learn all these new things. And there's so much to do there. And it's kind of like she works with these teams to help with their basically onboarding of new players and families. And so she obviously is somebody who understands this powerful tool that improv can be. And so this little light went off in my head. I was like, well, maybe, does anybody do this? Does anybody use use improv to teach English or languages? And I found some things, but mostly what I found that it's like some of the exercises inside of regular English class, or like using it specifically for grammar, things like that. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if anybody does that. And so I already kind of like started this idea. I got it way ahead of myself before, and one of the there were some kids that I was teaching private lessons to. Their parents have Fanta Teatro, which is this massive organization in Bologna. So they are some of the, I guess, owners of it, the soci in it. And so they do theater for kids, and they either teaching theater or putting on shows. And I asked them, like, do you know anybody who does improv? Because this is like, I think this is a great idea. And they gave me a phone number of these guys, Federico. And so I called him up and I said, hey, I have this idea. Are you guys interested? I'm going to do it. And they were like, cool. That actually sounds really cool. But have you ever done improv, Mike? And I was like, No.
No.
They were like, yeah, you might wanna come do improv. And I was like, okay. And I went and I did it for, I went to the first few lessons and I had a great time. It was wonderful, but I was immediately, I discovered immediately that, yeah, there's a lot more to this than I'm ready for to be a teacher for doing this. So I spent 2 years doing it before really feeling comfortable enough to kind of experiment with people and try this thing. And then, so now I've been doing it for 4 years, but last year it created this thing. It's called Impro Conversation to help people with conversational English. And I have to be honest, I can't, I'm not ready yet to work with people who have no English, but I'm confident that I can work with people with very basic to upper level skills. And I created 2 groups, a lot with the help of Impro Jungle. They kind of helped me to like get the word out, like, hey, this guy's going to come do this thing if you want to go do it. The lessons, if I can work with a group, it doesn't cost much for an individual to do. And so I told these 2 groups of people that were willing to come be my experiments, like, hey, I'm going to do these things and every week is going to be a new experiment. But I had kind of created like the structure of how at least an 8-week lesson, an 8-week course could work. And, as I went, it made adjustments and things, but it's amazing, really. I'm still amazed, and I think that there's a lot to do to develop a lot of things. But it really is, it's a way to create the thing that's missing in so many language classes. And I've been, when I was back in Siena, one of the huge projects that I ran was this project that sent all of the native English speakers, and we even had a lot of native Spanish speakers too, and I was doing the same things with high schools and whoever was teaching Spanish, but native speakers of the languages going in, and through the volunteer work that they were doing English with kids from the kindergarten all the way through the high school level. And so I had to work with all of those teachers on the back end to help them understand, okay, what our students are capable of doing, why they're there, that they're only going to be there for a finite amount of time. But I got to see a lot of how it all works, language instruction. And, I can say absolutely with confidence, I've been inside classrooms with Italian kids that the way that they're teaching English here, it's not failing at all, but it's not teaching them how to have a conversation.
How to go out and speak it.
I've been in classrooms where the Italian students are explaining to the American students how English grammar works, know? And so they're learning it well because that's what they're being taught. But then they get into a situation of like, how are you? Like, oh, it's panic. And that's, from kids all the way up to adults. And so what I'm doing through this improv stuff is it's creating that thing that is the spontaneity, which is so hard to recreate from a book.